A very warm welcome to Daily Dispatch powered by HSBC. Joining me for this very interesting panel on baby care is Rahul Anand from Hopscotch, and we have Malika Sadani from the Moms Co. Thank you very much, panelists, for joining us today. It's a very exciting category. We've seen so much growth happening over the last couple of months, specifically during the pandemic. We're seeing so many new moms, so many new parents log in and shop online. So, just wanted to understand as we enter 2022, what's it looking like? Can we expect the momentum to really continue? Let's begin with you, Malika.
Yeah, so I think I continue to be very optimistic on the segment. I think what we have seen over the last couple of months and years, actually, like we started about 4.5 years back, and at that time, there was no such segment as mom and baby. The segment that existed was, you had a baby and a beauty segment. And today you, of course, have this whole segment called mom and baby. And even if you see stats, we've also seen that products which are catering to mom needs are getting sort of solved much, much more, right? And it's still just the start of the journey, but there's a lot more that needs to happen in this segment. So I think I continue to be very optimistic on seeing a lot of newer trends come out. There have been some very interesting trends that we have seen over the last 2 years, including a lot of homegrown stuff that we use as we were kids and we grew up with actually get translated into full-fledged businesses, right? So I think there's a lot more that we can see coming in a couple of years.
Right. Thanks for that, Malika. Let's come to you, Rahul. Are you seeing a similar trend and the kind of momentum shaping up?
No, absolutely. It's kind of interesting when we think about the world of kids. Kids keep growing, their needs continue to evolve. And what we saw during the pandemic was that the fashion that you put your kids into, from clothing to shoes and other accessories, were all very centered around things children would wear at home, given some of the challenges with the pandemic. And I think as things unfold post-pandemic now, you're starting to see the occasion wear segments pick up dramatically, right? When you think about occasion wear, we're talking about the amazing festival cadence that we have, starting with Raksha Bandhan in August, going into a whole host of different festivals that is unique to India, right? We can celebrate all of those being brands in the kids space. I think similarly, you think about occasions like birthday, right? Birthday parties are huge, as are weddings and other occasions like your child's first sporting, event. So I think that as kids start to go out post-pandemic, a lot of these other occasions now become things that parents are once again in tune and in sync with actively shopping for. And I think we're extremely excited, as Malika mentioned, given kids fashion is a $15 billion category in India alone. $15 billion, it's huge. And there are no brands. So it's a very ripe opportunity for large and leading direct-to-consumer brands to sort of make the most of by inspiring the trust that they forge with consumers.
Right. Malika, I want to come back to you to talk a little bit about which categories are doing well at this point in time. While Rahul briefly alluded to how festive wear and festive fashion is slowly taking off with more festivals coming in your categories, which are the top ones performing at this point in time, and what's the kind of outlook that you have for the rest of the year?
Yeah, so I think it's a very interesting question, Priya, because I've actually seen the whole trend change from moms asking for safer products that were natural and sort of working more effectively than what the conventional ones were doing. And from there, we're today at a stage where I think one of the largest questions that we get on the platform are on sunscreens. Right. So I think seeing that entire change where, of course, adult sunscreen as a proportion has gone up, which is what we've seen, but even getting the awareness that sunscreen for kids is actually important is very interesting, right? And similarly, you have a lot more of these very niche products that are sort of now picking up in the segment, just because the moms are far more aware and the amount of information available is just so large and everybody's on their digital platform, right? It is very surprising that after a very long period of time, I made a trip to Bombay. And, when we were sort of coming back and we had that time where we were waiting at the airport, it was very amazing to see that everybody was on their little mobiles, right? I remember sometime back when we used to go, there used to be newspapers that people would sit and read and all of that. But here everybody's on their device, and everybody on the device is constantly consuming a lot of information, which actually allows brands like us to come up with very innovative solutions. So what you're going to see in the next couple of years is going to be some really innovative products that will come out in this segment. The second thing that I've actually seen the rise of is a lot of Indian trends kind of convert to fully fledged business that I mentioned, right? So in the segment, super bottoms is an excellent example of that, right? Like we all stood the concept of cloth diapering, but converting that into a very easy to use form for the modern age women and kind of commercializing was a great example of newer trends and old age trends that are actually getting commercialized right now. So I think both in this segment, we will see a huge uptick. I also see a very large uptick coming in diapers as a segment altogether. I mean, it's very interesting to see that across the different stratas of society, people are becoming far more aware and beginning to use diapers, and all of it actually translates to adding ease into your lives for today.
Right, interesting perspective out there. Rahul, I want to talk a little bit about the kind of ticket size when you talk about specific categories. So are you looking at an increasing ticket size? Are shopping baskets getting bigger over the last couple of months? What have you seen, and are you seeing that continue?
I think we've been a little bit sheltered from the sensitivity around ticket size. I'm not sure Hopscotch would be a good indicator. Our average basket is, about 2.5 times what the horizontal players are. We're about 1,500 rupees. And 80% of our business happens on our own storefront, right? So I think it's a little different from most of the other brands out there. Priya, what I was saying is that the level of engagement with our brand is dramatically growing. So people are visiting more often, they're buying more frequently, but the basket size, the ticket size doesn't necessarily go up. Of course, as people shop for special occasions like Raksha Bandhan versus, basic casual wear for spring or summer, you will see the average order value increasing, but that has more to do with the seasonality of the cadence than it has to do with any major shift post-pandemic.
Right. Thanks for that. Malika, I want to come back to you to talk a little bit about, what kind of growth drivers going forward, what according to you will be the biggest levers for growth at Momsco? Will you be looking at further horizontal expansion? Will you be looking at, bulking up product portfolios by increasing the kind of products that you have under each category? What do you think would be the main drivers for your business going forward?
Yeah, I think actually both and even one more. So for instance, we're looking at a lot of innovations coming through this year. I think the digital era kind of allows us to experiment a lot more with new age formats and new age products. So I think we're going to be doing a lot of that this year. Expansion of portfolio is always on the card. So we have a lot of products that are lined up through the year and some very interesting categories that also will be launching through the year. And I think the third thing, which is going to be really big for us from a growth perspective, is our expansion into retail. Like I strongly believe that everybody is moving to a very omni-channel approach, and it will be very important for the brand to be omni-channel. And what's the most interesting, Priya, is the fact that our learning actually stems from the lockdown. It was when the first lockdown happened, and we had this chat on one of the last conversations also that we have had, is that we got frantic calls from parents sort of saying that you have no social responsibility and you're not a responsible brand because you're not available in the store next to me. And now that, my wash has kind of finished, are you expecting me to travel all the way or figure out a way to get it or change the wash altogether, right? Which is where we realize that being digital is great when you start, but as you grow, even sort of getting an whole omni-channel approach is going to be very important. So that's going to be the third big lever for us. So innovation, product expansion, and retail expansion.
So just a follow-up question to that, Malika, what kind of offline expansion are you looking at? Is there a ballpark in mind?
Yeah, we're about 3,000 stores right now. We're looking to grow up to almost about 20,000 stores by the end of the year. So that's the kind of growth that we're looking at. It's almost close to 8 to 10x the number of stores that we're currently present in. So we're actually adding almost about 1,000, 1,500 stores per month right now. And we'll ramp it up through the year.
All right, very interesting. Rahul, what is your expansion strategy on the offline front? Will you be looking at increasing the number of stores and their presence overall as well?
At the moment, I think for the foreseeable future, we're seeing massive growth from opening up our catalog to third-party online distribution platforms, right? So we're talking about the Amazon, Snapdeals, Flipkarts, and the like, and those are growing by over 100% year on year as we speak. Given we're able to penetrate and reach consumers and audiences through these platforms, we're going to stay focused on the online segment for the next 2 to 3 years, given our category can very easily be shopped online. And we know moms are starved for convenience. So I think we're going to stay focused on online, given how much low-hanging fruit there still is, and start to toy with the idea of offline in parallel, with the plan of executing maybe after a couple of years when we have more conviction around the right format and approach to move forward.
Right. So Rahul, in terms of offline expansion, how many stores are you present in at this point in time? And is there a plan maybe over the next 2 to 3 years in terms of what kind of target levels would you like to reach?
We are present in absolutely no offline channels whatsoever. We're 100% digital, with 80+% of our distribution happening on our own Hopscotch storefront. The other 20% is growing. Sorry, is on the back of the horizontal players.
Right, Rahul. I had one follow-up question in terms of what's the strategy going forward? What will you be focusing on in this current financial year, now that more people are shopping online? Occasion where is picking up as well? Any 2 or 3 points in terms of what will be driving growth for you?
Yeah, no, absolutely. When we speak to consumers constantly to figure out, do we need to go into other categories outside fashion, such as toys and the like, or do we need to be going deeper into fashion? I think it's more the latter. When we speak to consumers, they're like, we love Hopscotch. We trust you as a brand. We value the hard work and perseverance that you put into what you ship to us, but we're not getting enough of you. We want to see you in other fashion categories, right? So we're already extremely strong and the category killer in most of the occasion-driven categories. And we're now going to start expanding into the everyday wear categories in our business. That is the lion's share of the revenue contribution that third parties are seeing. And I think there's no reason why Hopscotch can't win those categories. It's the low risk, high margin, cash cow stuff, right? So we've cracked the hard part of the business, the occasion wear that's got very short product life cycle and needs to be managed extra carefully. We've made that work. I think now we'll try and focus on a lot of this low-hanging fruit and find a way to give consumers more Hopscotch, right? Whether that is by being more present on the horizontal platforms or by adding these other categories within the fashion domain on our own storefront.
Right. Thanks for that, Rahul. Final question for you, Malika. When you talk about M&A and acquisitions going forward, we'll be looking at tuck-in acquisitions, considering the kind of aggressive growth that you're looking at. Is that something on your radar?
That's only time will tell. I think we're always open to all of it because, as I said, we'll have to. So our idea always, Priya, was to get Momsco to be one of the top 3 global brands in the space of mom and baby. And as we thrive to, we are on a mission to help moms make natural, safe, and effective choices across the various platforms that they have, right? Like we just want to make mom's life easy. And in that context, I think anything that can stand by the brand values and at the same point of time add ease into the mom's life would always be on the radar.
All right, panelists, thank you very much for this very interesting conversation. And it's really been a pleasure speaking with you. Thanks for your time.